What's up, everybody? Welcome back to New Angle Sports Talk. This is Zach. I'm going to try to give this one justice because this was a big time game. I'm not necessarily a Thunder fan. I'm in Oklahoma City. A lot of my friends are in Oklahoma City, but not necessarily a Thunder fan. So I'm kind of unbiased in my opinion. But this one, oh my gosh, this is probably the best game of the entire playoffs so far, with the biggest shot of probably the entire season at the end. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that point as well too. But jumping right in as usual, guys. It was a very fun first half. Big time basketball, real competitive again. Damian Lillard ended the first quarter with 19 points. There were 6 total players on the Blazers team that had scored. I think nobody had scored over 3 points. I think one person had 3 points, and the rest of them all had 2-pointers. And then Dame had 19. That's kind of how the scoring went with the Trailblazers in the first quarter. OKC was a little bit different. Paul George was their big scorer that had scored 15. Everybody else that did score, I think there was 5 people that scored, including Paul George. They each had like here and there like 4 points to 7 points or whatever. But the bulk of the scoring came from Paul George. There was a period of time though with Oklahoma City, they had made 11 straight buckets, so they were clicking, and it kind of carried over the rest of the game. Like Jeremy Grant had a great game, Dennis Schroeder had a great game. Excuse me. And again, you'll see that in the highlights and kind of what we're talking about as well too. I want to save as much time as I can to the end, so I'm going to just skip right into the second quarter, even though the highlights may not be there yet. But jumping over to the second quarter here, Schroeder was guarding Damian Lillard most of the game. You should see this highlight on there as well too, but right at the beginning of the second quarter, there was a real fun play, a real basketball playoff type play where Damian Lillard and Schroeder were guarding each other. I think Schroeder tipped the ball out, and then the ball just went basically going backwards to the backcourt really quickly. Both players had a dead sprint to go get it. I just thought that play was really fun. I wanted to bring it up just so you guys can see it as well too. It was a really good hustle play. You know, it showed the hustle on both sides and that kind of thing. But Schroeder did play really good, tough defense the entire game. Like I said, most of the game he was played with Damian Lillard. He was guarding Damian Lillard, and Schroeder did not have any lack of effort in this game, and you're going to see that a lot in this video here. Harkless did have a tough fall with about 3 minutes left into the second quarter. There was a fast break, and Harkless did fall onto Schroeder, and I thought it was kind of ugly, but it ended up being a lot. You know, it looked a lot worse than it actually was. He ended up getting up in a few seconds, and he was fine. But kind of a scary play at that point. But looks like everybody was okay. Now, by the end of the second quarter, Damian Lillard had set a new playoff franchise record, a Blazers record, with the most points scored in a half. So he ended the half with 34 points. Again, he had 19 in the first quarter, and he built on that even more with another 15, and ended the first half with 34 points. That's the most points scored by any player in the NBA since Steve Nash did it in 2005. So big time basketball. He came out to play. He was hot from the beginning, and it carried over as well, like I said. Before we jump into the third quarter, though, I'm going to highlight a few more things here as well. Westbrook, I don't know. We'll talk about Westbrook in another video. We're going to highlight him a little bit, kind of what they need to do, and I don't know what to do with him, honestly. But I'll think of something to put in a video, guys, and hopefully you guys like it. But at one point in the second quarter, I wrote down a sequence of plays that I thought were pretty important. The reason why I took down some of these plays here is because I thought that they were really big, not chemistry, but I don't know, not motivation either, but they're big time plays that kind of kept the team going, got them pumped up, and carried on that run, so to speak. But Westbrook had missed 2 layups in a row. The second layup, he doesn't get back on defense, and Seth Curry hit a clean 3, like a big time 3-pointer, and that gave Portland the lead. I think that might have been, unless they had the lead at the very beginning of the game, I don't remember, honestly, I apologize. But this was the first lead that they had in a while. Again, they might have led in the beginning of the game, but from what I remember, this is the first time that they had led in quite some time. Seth Curry hit that big 3, like I said. They took the lead. Billy Donovan had to call a timeout to kind of regather his team. Now, also right after this had happened, after the Portland hits that big 3 and the Thunder get out there, Enes Kanter had to go to the locker room. He did have an issue with Paul George was guarding him on one play in the first quarter, not the second quarter, but the first quarter, and he hurt his left shoulder, it looked like, or his left arm. And then it got real aggravated in a different play with Steven Adams in the second quarter. Now, these guys are tight. These guys are stash bros, so I don't think there's anything malicious with them. And Steven Adams, I don't think is a dirty player. He's a tough player. He defends you tough, and he always hustles, and he's real rough, I guess is a better way to say it. But I don't necessarily think he's dirty whatsoever. At the end of the second quarter, Paul George does hit a pretty big buzzer beater three, and the Blazers end the half at 60-61. So they're leading at halftime, 60-61. Now, jumping into the third quarter, Damian Lillard did hit a huge three at the beginning of the half, and this was kind of annoying because Paul George didn't even jump. So it was a deep three, but we've been seeing that all series long where he just hits those deep threes. But Paul George didn't even. I mean, you got to know this. You got to know the scouting report. You've got to know at this point it's big time basketball. It's playoff basketball. He's gonna hit threes if he's open, and he doesn't even have to. He doesn't even have to be open in order to shoot it. So he's gonna shoot it no matter what. He's got that confidence in him. You got to step up on him. Enes Kanter did come back in. He did start again in the second half, just so you know. It doesn't look like it was anything major to keep him out of the game. He came back in, no problem. Russell Westbrook, shot a three with about a minute 30 into the game. And then in that play, Damian Lillard didn't even jump. Now, the difference in that play that I wanted to point out is because Damian Lillard was like basically on the logo, and Russell Westbrook on this one was on the right side of the three-point line, not at the baseline, but kind of at that angle. And I mean, Damian Lillard could have jumped, and it was kind of like a I'm not going to guard you kind of thing. And he shot it, and it was just kind of disrespectful. I thought it was kind of funny. Now, one of the biggest takeaways on the defensive side of the ball for the Thunder that I've seen this entire series is they have got to get better. They are fantastic at defense. They're one of the top-rated defensive teams that have in the league consistently the last couple of years. But they have got to get better at guarding corner threes. I don't know how many times I've seen it, not just this game, but the entire series, where Damian Lillard or C.J. McCollum or anybody running that point for Portland, what they'll do is they'll drive and then they'll swing out that, do the swing pass off the baseline to the weak side, to the baseline three, like for Aminu or somebody like that, or C.J. McCollum or whoever is over there at three, and they'll shoot a three and they'll make it. And like Aminu has been automatic from 3-point range this entire series, and they still have not guarded it. Like, you have to know when somebody's driving, like you have to know their tendencies. You have to figure that out. You can tell after game one, Aminu is going to hit those threes, and he's going to shoot them too, but he's going to hit those threes as well. So you got to pick up a game plan to kind of guard for that, and they just didn't do it. That was one of the big reasons why they lost, is because of defensive. They're super good defensively, but it's like the specific play or the specific method that the other party or the other person is using to beat you. I don't know why they don't just fix it. I don't know why they don't just focus on it. Like, if you're giving up so many corner threes, just, I don't know. That's a rant for another day. Like I said, I don't want to rant too much on this recap video. But honestly, just going into the fourth quarter now, and this is really the end of the third, going into the fourth as well. Man, Portland was pumped up this game. I know I've said that pretty much on every recap video that I've done so far, and it is to be expected, but man, they were pumped up, and that really helped them kind of, helped Portland, stay intense on defense and keep up with their game plan and that kind of thing. Now, they did go on a 14-0 run. Portland did. I'm sorry, 14-2 run, excuse me. They went on a 14-2 run. OKC actually responds with their own 14-4 run as well. Once they stopped Portland's run, they went on their own 14-4 run after they called a timeout. So Billy Donovan had called a timeout after Portland goes on their run, and then OKC goes on their run and kind of keeps things back to where they should be. Now, there was a sequence, again, of events in this game where Russell Westbrook had hit 2 threes. He made an easy layup. He also got fouled while driving on Seth Curry, not Steph Curry, excuse me. And he was fouled by Zach Collins. So the reason why I wanted to bring that up is the last play. So whenever he drives on Seth Curry isn't a bad defender at all. Like, I would say if I'm ranking him from 1 to 5, 5 being, Paul George level, and 3 being like average, I'm going to put him like at a 4. So he's above average, but he's not like a superstar defender like a Tony Allen or Paul George or Roberson or whoever it is. But he's an above average kind of defender as well too. But he realized he had to step on the defender. Seth Curry isn't necessarily the fastest guard in the world. He's pretty undersized as well too. So you have a strength advantage. You probably have a speed advantage, I would say. Russell Westbrook does over Seth Curry. And then you did the right thing. You didn't shoot up a stupid three. What you did is you played by your strengths. You acknowledged that. You got to the hole, and you went up for the layup. And he almost made it, too. But what happened was Zach Collins came on from the weak side and ended up fouling him, and Russell shoots 2 free throws from it at that point. Now, I have to say, okay, we're going to get into the fourth quarter here. This has been the best fourth quarter I have seen in all of basketball this entire year. This has been so much fun. I don't have too many sequences that I want to bring up or too many stats that I wanted to pull up because I just, as a fan, I was just watching it, and I was engaged and locked in the entire time. But there is something at the very end where there's a few things that I want to bring up as well, too. Just a recap. Again, Dennis Schroeder did a pretty good job, I would say. I know Damian Lillard ended up killing it from points, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But when I was watching Dennis Schroeder, he didn't necessarily himself do a bad job at guarding Damian Lillard. It was everybody else. He did get scored on, but I feel like the buckets that he did get scored on, they weren't like that bad. Like Damian Lillard is an all-star. He's going to hit those threes, and he's going to get those layups as well, too. When he takes those types of shots. But for the most part, I thought Dennis Schroeder was actually a highlight on defense. I thought he did pretty good. And one thing in specific that he did, he was picking him up full court. And as soon as he, whenever there was some plays where Damian Lillard didn't bring the ball up like CJ McCollum did or whoever did, and Schroeder would still pick him up from full court as well too. Once he got over half court, though, Dennis Schroeder completely shut him down as far as like denying the ball and did like a complete denial where he wouldn't let him get the ball at all. Now, obviously with picks and stuff, he gets around it and he can get the ball at that point. But just something I wanted to mention, Dennis Schroeder did not do a bad job at all. I was actually pretty shocked. I didn't realize that, he does obviously have he's probably one of the most energized guys on our team, but I thought it was interesting as well too. He didn't do a bad job at all. Now getting to the end, this is like the last 2 minutes left of the game. This game did not go into overtime, so you're going to find out how this ends. Paul George had gotten fouled, missed 2 big free throws. You cannot miss free throws in the playoffs and like the last, in the fourth quarter, but I'll say the last 2 minutes. He can't do it, and this is the reason why, okay? So he misses 2 free throws. There was I think a possession later. Russell Westbrook had an offensive foul, stupid foul. CJ McCollum, right after that foul, he hits a teardrop, and the crowd goes wild again, just like normal as well, too. And it gets to the end, the last play, and I will highlight this again. You have to know the scouting because I'm a Lakers fan. I watch a lot of Thunder basketball. I watch a lot of basketball just in general. But Damian Lillard did the same exact play on us at the beginning of the year when Brandon Ingram was guarding him against the Lakers. You have like 2 seconds left in the clock. You're at the logo. He's not going to drive on you. Get up underneath him and get around him, step up on him, and put your hand up. Because what he's going to do, he's going to do the same thing that James Harden does when he's trying to take a three. He does a little step back to the right or to the left. In this case, it was to the right. He does his little step back to the right and then just chunks it from the logo, essentially, and it goes in. Of course it goes in. It's Damian Lillard. You got to know that. You got to know that he wants to step back. He's not going to rise over you, Paul George. You've got like 3 inches on him. You got 2 inches or 4 inches or whatever it is you have on him. Like, he's not going to shoot over you. He's going to have – the only option that he has is to take a step back or to take a step to the side and try to shoot over you. He's probably not going back because he'd be even further. If he goes to the side, that gives him the best angle to shoot it from, and you didn't step up. You didn't guard him, and that was the biggest – I don't know. That was the biggest game winner I've seen all year. That was insane. Again, not necessarily a Thunder fan on my part, but, man, I kind of felt bad for them. And then, obviously, Damian Lillard gets his 50 points, and then bittersweet, but he waves the Thunder off the court. So that was my recap, guys. Even though the Thunder lost, if you guys want to go ahead and still watch the video and like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, I'd appreciate it. We'll have more videos out for you guys tomorrow. I know the Utah Jazz Rockets series is on tomorrow, and then the Clippers Golden State Warriors series is on tomorrow. I'll probably recap 1 or 2 of them. Oh, maybe both of them. But I'll do at least one of them. So, as always, guys, like I said, this is Zach with New Angle Sports. Please go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. This is video number 26, I believe. So I think we're booking them out for you guys. We're getting them out to you guys. Just if you like them, just keep watching them. I appreciate it a lot. And leave your comments in the comment section below. Thanks, guys.